Hello, my friend. Hello, hello. How's it going? I'm not gonna lie, this is really good lighting right now. I think it is. Maybe my eyes are fuzzy, but whatever. This is really good lighting. I'm okay with it. A lot of clouds out in my area. Oh, somebody asked if I live in the forest because they're always hearing birds. I don't. I just have so many bird friends come visit me. Wild birds are always in my yard. So many different types. It's beautiful. I counted something like 11 different species not too long ago. And of course I do feed them. So that's probably why. I have tons of bird seed and like treats for them and it's not just birds that come. But anyway, I don't have any pet birds. It's actually just the wild birds outside, and I don't live in the rainforest or anything like that. Far from it. I wish. But let me get into this message, okay? And the message, it was kind of sad. It really kind of hurt to receive this message. So I'm just gonna deliver it as gentle as I can. But what came through was that you've never had people around you that ever made you feel special or genuinely loved. That everything or anything that people did for you, there was always an ulterior motive to it. It's like, I'm being shown, it's like either somebody just gave you the completely bare minimum and you accepted it because you didn't want to seem ungrateful or too much, or maybe you didn't even feel like you deserved more than that. But it's like either people gave you the very bare minimum, or if they did do something for you, there was a motive behind it. And that motive was really to like control you, or to control the way that other people viewed them, the person who did things for you or did something for you. And I am being shown that you went through certain big milestones in life where this was the case. It was like people really didn't consider the way you felt. They really didn't. It was never really about you. It was never really about you. These milestones, these big things that you went through that should have been about you, it was always like you came second to somebody else's drama or desire or needs or inability to show genuine care. And it does feel heartbreaking. It does feel like for a long time you felt like that was normal, like that was okay, like this was just, you didn't deserve better, you weren't worth more. But I am seeing that you realize now, and so maybe this is not all sad, because I do see that you realize that you are worth more. You do deserve better. You do deserve to be loved. You are special to this world, and you are so special to this world. You are so different than these people who have treated you poorly. You know, and what I'm seeing too, it's like, it's complicated because for some of you, in certain instances from the outside looking in, it did look like you were really valued by these other people. But it was like all a show. It was all a show to get other people to admire the person who was doing something for you. Like it was all very manipulative. It was very intentional to make themselves seem like a great person. From the outside looking in, it looked like they were really wonderful things done for you. But being on the inside, you know firsthand that it was never about you. You know that there was a cost to it. The show that was put on, like eventually the show ended, and the reality was you were highly mistreated. Your feelings and who you were, were as a person was largely dismissed. And if you tried to communicate the way that you felt, it was like then you were being punished. You were being punished, labeled as ungrateful, as a brat, as a snob, as you were made the problem. And I think that is very, very much indicative of being raised by a covert narcissist. I spoke about covert narcissists in the last video, and so maybe this ties in some way. But the last video, no, maybe it does tie in. Maybe it does tie in, because I did get a download in that video. So, you know, putting on a show for the outside world and then having the inside world be entirely different, that's really what covert narcissists do. Because they depend on their reputation, because they have no self-worth. They don't know who they are, they don't like who they are, they have no self-confidence, and they receive all their confidence from the way people view them. And so they work hard to manipulate people and to appear that they are a certain way, okay? Their reputation is very important, like that white picket fence, you know, like being the perfect person to everybody else. And they do fool a lot of people. And I see you were in a situation where there were a lot of people that were fooled around you, so much so that when you started to speak the truth about what your feelings were, these people didn't believe you. They believed the covert narcissist because they had no reason not to believe them. This is also very much aligned with the last message I got, but there's a little bit of a different feel to this. I don't know. This one feels like where the other message felt like it could have been like a partner or a friend. This one feels like it's like someone you were raised by. Now, of course, you can apply it. However, it could be the same situation. You know, maybe it's the same in each message, but there's like this realization that there was not one person around you, whether it was a family member, a best friend, a partner, or not one person ever made you feel important or special. It's like if you got married, the proposal was just the bare minimum. It's like if you got, nothing was ever over the top, or it doesn't have to be like that. I just have these examples coming to me. It was like nothing was ever done. Nobody ever went out of their way for you. That's it. That's what it is. Like for some reason I'm seeing like a marriage, like somebody getting married, and like the way that they were proposed to was like really low effort. And then, and I feel like you kind of got hurt by that. And again, this doesn't have to apply to you. Or like if you had like a best man or a maid of honor, they put like very low effort to it. And it's almost given like, as you reflect back on these different milestones in your life, you realize that people just, you always went above and beyond for everybody, and they just always like didn't care. It was always about them. And you always had to be the understanding one. You always had to be the accepting one. And I feel like there's some grief there about that. I feel like there's this feeling of like waste time or missed opportunities or something of that nature coming through. Maybe this is part of your healing process. Maybe this is part of, as your level of self-love increases and your perspective widens, you realize, wow, you put up with a lot more stuff than you should have. And I use the term should have loosely because it's not like anybody should be doing anything, but it's like you put up with a lot more stuff than you wanted to. You just accepted it because somebody made you feel like you didn't have worth. And then these other people that were attracted into your life because you had this initial belief, they validated that. Well, you know, there could be a flip side too, where people did do things and made it seem like they were just doing everything for you. But it always had to be their way. You know, maybe people did do lavish things for you, but the lavish things were just a form of control and it had to be done their way. It wasn't like, you know what I'm trying to say? Because I'm feeling like I'm repeating myself a little bit, which I often do. And that's a product of me never being heard in my life. I realize that I repeat myself and I have to stop and be like, no, like I'm heard. Like I don't have to say it 15 times. Like I'm still learning and growing. But there is something coming up around this right now that maybe you're healing through this because you have leveled up and you are aware. You have been pouring love into yourself. You have moved away from people and relationships that don't value you, that don't make you feel seen, heard, respected, cared for. And in having that space, you know, you've been pouring love into yourself and a lot of things have become very clear to you. And maybe this is something that's become extremely clear to you. And maybe it's something you're even saying like, I'm not going to accept that ever again, 1155. It's like 111, 3, the Trinity, the source, the soul, and you. But so maybe it's like you're like, wow, I put up with so much stuff. I'm never gonna accept that. I'm never gonna accept that again. I'm never gonna tolerate or allow people to treat me like that again. Like the first signal that somebody's, you know, showing me that I'm not worth much to them, I'm gonna believe them and I'm gonna keep moving. And I do think that's a beautiful thing. I do think that's incredibly empowering. And some people might call you names over it. They might say like, are you too difficult or you're, but who cares? You know, maybe they'll call you a B, or they'll call you like, you know what I mean? Like, not that I have problem cussing, because listen, I don't have any problem cussing. I'm just trying to keep it clean for the videos. But I feel like people are gonna like name call you when you demonstrate your level of self-worth, just to try to bring you down and hurt you. But not for nothing, that will just confirm to you that they don't value you or see you with worth. Because if they could do that to you, that's what they think of you. That's what they think of you. And we're not maintaining relationships or developing relationships, starting relationships, or even tolerating anybody that comes against our level of self-worth. You worked hard to get to this place. You went through a lot of stuff to get to this place, and you had to put a lot of effort into it. And maybe people don't realize how much work you had to do because maybe you don't share that side, or maybe you don't look like you've been through a lot of stuff, or maybe just like your demeanor and your personality, like where you're at right now, is very positive or loving, or like, you know what I mean? But yeah, you had to go through so much of that stuff, that fuckery, to get, I guess I'm not keeping it that clean, to get to this point that, who cares what they think? Literally, who cares? There are plenty more people out there that will value you when you value yourself. And You do show people what you will allow. You teach people how to treat you. We all do. When we tolerate bad behavior and people hurting us, then they learn that they can do this to us. When we nip it in the bud right away, and maybe we have to walk away, or we have to call it out, or we have to set a boundary, we nip it in the bud right away. We teach people like, that's not going to fly with this person. And they either accept it or they don't. Okay, so if people can't accept where you're at today, the level of self-love that you operate at, they don't deserve a place in your life. Because that's basically all we can do. We show each other who we are, and then we choose whether we can accept it or not. If there's somebody in your life that you deeply care for, but they're doing things that you can't accept, well, you have to make a choice. Because you're not going to be able to change that person. Do you want to keep this person in your life and learn to accept it? Or do you want to walk away and accept the fact that you have to let go? You can't change people. You can only change yourself. You can only evolve yourself. And when I was young, I always used to say, young, and I'm talking like teenager, high school type stuff, I would always say, people don't change, they evolve. And I truly believe that, because changing yourself is a form of evolution. I mean, I guess it boils down to like, you can change, but it is really just, you're evolving, you're growing, you're maturing, you are finding your alignment. Okay, I mean, I guess people can change for the worse. I guess people can de-evolve, so that doesn't really apply. But in my mind, it does. In my mind, it works. But yeah, people can change for the worse. Okay, let's move on. Oh, man. But I do see, God wants you to know how special you are. And God wants you to have the things that you want. God also wants that. If you want it, God wants it, the things that are good, the things that are positive. And also, I'm saying, like, if you wanted something that was not good for you, that's going to be a learning experience. And God wants that also, because God's all about the learning experience. That's why all of this exists. To have experiences. So I am seeing that you came from a reality where you were never valued, and you got used to that. You were familiar with that. You were accustomed to that. But now you're in a reality, a reality where you value yourself. And because you value yourself, you're not tolerating people who don't value you. You're not tolerating people who cannot hear you. You're not running around, chasing people around, trying to get them to understand you. If they are showing that they have no willingness to try to understand you, snip. Like I said in the other video, you're pruning that leak, because it's not a connection. If they don't understand you, and you're running around trying to get them to understand you, you're just draining your energy, and that's a leak in your field. We're not doing that. Your field is solid. You are grounded. You're radiant like a lighthouse. You have a high consciousness. You have a lot of wisdom. And you are a way shower, a leader, a cycle breaker. You show others the path. And because you've built such a strong foundation within yourself and around yourself, this foundation extends outward for other people to also walk on, whether it's in how they treat you or how they treat themselves. Like, you're an inspiration. But of course, there will be some kickback and some resistance, and those people are just showing you and validating that they do not deserve a place in your life. You don't have to go head to head with them. What's the point? Okay? Then that would be a leak in your field. Okay? And that's the role we play in whether we allow leaks or we plug them up. Plug them up and grow from it. Okay? That's the message. I'm going to leave it there. I think that you are so special to this world. I know you are so special to this world. This message wouldn't be coming through like this if you weren't special to this world. And I will tell you every day how special I think you are and what a gift you are to this world. And it's not about ego. This is truth. This is about you being a very hard worker with strong morals and a lot of love. And you're standing in truth. I'm standing in truth. And my video is shaking. And I think that's awesome. My video is shaking because my cat's sitting on the, like this thing I have. What is it called? It's like a cabinet thing. Like, and she's licking herself and she's like, and so it's shaking everything. But so that's why it was shaking if you noticed. But you are special to this world. That's not ego. People might accuse you of having ego, but it's not. It's truth. Okay? And the people who like accuse you of having a big ego are the people who are still operating in their shadow. They're the ones who don't have the strength and willingness to heal. And here you are, you have the strength, you have the willingness, and you have the success. Like, you've done this stuff. That's not ego. That's awesomeness. Okay, that's greatness. And don't forget that, all right? I love you so much. God cherishes you. God cherishes everything about you. Okay, I'm gonna go. I hope you have a really great day. And that's that. All right, I'll talk to you soon.